Hello there and welcome back to our channel. Now that all four questions raised in episode 2 have been answered, it's time to delve into the origin, history and nature of oil and gas. Oil and gas originate from organic matter, dead plants and animals, that have been buried and preserved in and between rocks deep under the Earth's surface. Amongst other factors such as time and pressure, temperature is the most important factor in turning organic matter into oil and gas. The minimum temperature for the formation of oil is 65 degrees Celsius, which occurs at 7,000 feet below the surface. Above 150 degrees Celsius, that is at about 18,000 feet below the surface, the organic matter will generate natural gas. After oil and gas have been generated, they rise above the water due to their lower density through the pores and fractures in the subsurface rocks in a geologic process of migration, which is so slow that they are considered non-renewable. Hence, the oil and gas end up a considerable distance vertically and horizontally from where it was originally formed. In terms of history, for centuries, arguments have ensued over the drilling location of the first oil well. In the early 1800s, salt manufacturers in West Virginia, USA, frequently hit oil and gas in their drilling for salt. The oil, nicknamed Old Greasy, was considered a nuisance and was discarded. On another note, history has it that the first oil well was drilled in 1859 by a guy called Billy Smith on behalf of Colonel Edwin Drake in Pennsylvania, also in the USA. Canadian petrohistorians also claim that James Miller Williams found oil in Oil Springs, Ontario, Canada, a year before Drake drilled his well. You can bet that the Russians will not be left out, for they also lay claim to an oil well in Baku, which was hand-dug 3 centuries before Drake or Williams were born. Those who say that history is a fable agreed upon may not be wrong after all. What we know for sure is that the oil and gas industry is about 170 years old and has undergone many changes over the period. Now let's talk about the nature of oil and gas. The word petroleum comes from 2 Latin words, petro for rock, and oleum for oil. Everyone knows the physical difference between oil and gas. Whereas you can see the former, you can't see the latter. Both, however, have similar chemical compositions. They both have hydrogen and carbon elements, which explains the popularity of the term hydrocarbon in oil and gas terminology. The main chemical difference between oil and gas is in the size of their hydrocarbon molecules. An easy rule of thumb is that under normal temperatures and pressures, any hydrocarbon molecule that has 1 to 4 carbon atoms occurs as a gas, e.g. methane, ethane, propane, and butane, which are all gases. Any hydrocarbon with 5 or more carbon atoms occurs as a liquid. In view of numerous variations, especially in terms of chemical properties, in crude oil found in different parts of the world, it became important to differentiate these grades of oil. The following characteristics were therefore considered critical for differentiation. The first is its API, which was developed by the American Petroleum Institute. It's a measure of density of the crude oil. It varies from 5 to 55. Heavyweight oils are below 25 API. Average weight oils are between 25 and 35 API, while lightweight oils are between 35 and 45 API. Second is the fault sulfur content. It's a naturally occurring but undesirable substance found in crude oil. It harms chemical equipment, pollutes the air, and forms acid rain. It has to be removed from crude oil in the refining process. Crude oils are therefore classified as sweet and sour on account of their sulfur content. Sweet crude has less than 1% sulfur, while sour crude has more than 1% sulfur. Heavy oils tend to be sour, while light oils tend to be sweet. The third is the benchmark. This is a standard against which other crude oils are compared, and prices are set. Bonny Light is the benchmark used in Nigeria. WTI, which stands for Western Texas Intermediate, is the benchmark used in the USA, while Brent is the benchmark used in the North Sea. In the Middle East, the benchmark is the Dubai. Fourth is the pour point. This is a measure of the amount of wax in crude. It's the lowest temperature at which the crude will still pour before it solidifies. It ranges between 52 degrees Celsius and minus 60 degrees Celsius. The higher the pour point, the higher the wax content. Fifth is the color. The color ranges from colorless through greenish to yellowish, reddish, brown, and black. Sixth is the smell. The smell ranges from sweet crude, which is like gasoline, to foul and sour, to fruity crude, which is like aromatic. I hope you've enjoyed listening as we try to keep it simple, ensure it makes sense, and that it leads to success. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. We are Fossil TMV Services. Thank you.